This season of Lent, we're inviting our congregation to remember your baptism. Baptism might be a one-off event. It might have happened many years ago, but it is a lifelong process of growing up into Christ, to be like Christ. It's also a calling to remember that before we did anything, God calls us out as his beloved children. And so we thought it would be helpful for you to see different people from our congregation in their workplaces and how they're living out their baptismal identity, how they're showing Christ's love to others, how they're modelling that in Christ everyone has worth and value. So take a look at different members now, how they go about their work, and how they remember that they are the beloved of Christ.
Hi, I'm Ross Buitendorp, and I work at Network 180. I've been with Network 180 for 21 years, and Network 180 is the community mental health for Kent County. What that means is that we're charged to take care of anybody who has Medicaid, Healthy Michigan, or is uninsured for all their behavioral health needs. That means we work with kids and adults to take care of their mental health issues, any individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities, or substance use disorders. My core work that I do, I'm the Director of Network Services, and we manage all our contract providers who deliver behavioral health services to those individuals in need. Maybe a secondary part of my work is community collaboratives and working to coordinate between all the other social services and hospitals in the community. So areas in my work that are I would consider an act of worship. There are a number of those. I typically equate those with things that are more positive. And I think the first one would be working with providers to increase access to behavioral health care and to improve services. I think of another area would be breaking barriers. So often we have individuals that we're working with, and they may not always be pleasant individuals at the time of need, the service that they need. And so trying to bridge care, trying to get them into the appropriate level of care. And I think the final thing would be developing and implementing services that can better serve individuals in our community with behavioral health needs. So areas in my work where it may be hard to feel like it's an act of worship, there's a few areas there, and it would typically be when I'm working with a provider and they are either unwilling or unable to comply with the mental health code, and so it's either coaching them to improve services, but it also may be we end up terminating services. I think other areas would be working with bureaucrats. I suppose I'm a bureaucrat, but working with bureaucrats who maybe have been working a touch too long in their current position, and they don't understand what their decisions mean for individuals on the street who receive services. And I think the final area would be budget cuts and balancing budget. So if we need to balance the budget, it also means typically we have to adjust or cut services. And so attempting to do that to me is painful, because we also know that some people are not going to get possibly what they may need. So the areas that I would love to see when Christ's kingdom comes is, in my area of work, would be enough resources that we can provide just excellent care for everyone that we're charged to take care of, so that they can live, self-fulfilled lives, and they do not have to experience the continuous trauma, and pain that they have in their lives. And I think the other one would be just the public understanding and acceptance of behavioral health. There's really a lack of understanding and fear and casting judgment on individuals. And I think if we could, that's an area that I would love to see, go away, and that understanding take place, so that we can better help those people we serve. So how does, being a child of God help me connect with, how I do my work? I think being a child of God grounds me and helps me understand that everyone that I work with, everyone that I serve, is a child of God. And even though we may be working with individuals who can be very difficult, and even even if we're trying to provide them services, they may not always want those services at the time, but we have to remind ourselves, and I have to remind myself, that they're a child of God, made in God's image. And so that is a huge, I think, driver and a reminder for me. So I don't have a Bible verse, but what I do have is a quote, and the quote is from St. Vincent de Paul. The quote goes something like this: "If our hearts do not burn with love, others will die of the cold." And I equate that to meaning that we're all children of God, and if we forget that those people that we serve and those people around us are children of God, that they're forgotten, and we can't let that happen.